Welcome to Make Today Count, your 20 minutes of fresh conversation served up to inform, educate and inspire an abundant life. I'm your host Ross Dean, and each episode I chat to thought leaders, influencers and experts in their game who all have one thing in common: the desire to go that extra mile, pushing against the status quo to create a richer life for both themselves and those around them, powered by compassion and driven by the need to leave the world that little bit better than when they arrived. Okay, hi guys, and welcome back to episode 13 of Make Today Count. Today we've got the Media Bros, Jack and Jake. These guys specialise in all things content, media marketing and content creation, working with brands such as Boots, TalkSport, to name but a few. If you're in Suffolk or if you're a fan of podcasts, you may have also listened to the Suffolk Business Podcast. Really recommend giving that a go. And also a great new product to the Content Club, which I'm sure we'll be digging into a little bit later. Jack and Jake, how you guys?
Ross, how you doing, mate?
Hello, mate.
Really well.
What a lovely introduction. Thanks so much.
It's nice to be introduced. It's nice to kind of have our roles reversed for once.
I know.
Yeah, it is.
I can kind of walk around with you if you want and just kind of introduce you from time to time, you know.
I think with theme music as well.
Save my voice.
I don't know what Jack's theme music would be. I'm trying to think right now, but
think Avengers, mate.
Avengers.
Right, okay. I was thinking more like bam, 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 that kind of thing.
maybe since Christmas.
Yeah.
But as I say, thank you so much for your time this evening, guys.
Pleasure, mate.
I really want to get in touch and kind of we've had some connection before about certain things, but one of the things I wanted to kind of speak about was something that really kind of resonated with my audience in that and talk about video. And I know you guys do a lot around video. It's kind of a core part of what you do. And I'm really looking forward to going into that and getting some real value to the listeners. But before we kind of go that far, what I'd really like to do is that if people kind of haven't come across your content before, can you give us a little bit of background about kind of how you got to where you are now?
Yeah, so we've obviously the nature of being brothers, we have grown up with each other our whole lives.
Yeah.
And weirdly, it's like we've both lived quite similar lives up to now, but not so. It's kind of a bit of an opposite. So Jack, obviously, he can touch upon this in a minute, but his whole kind of childhood and growing up is all around golf. Like,
okay,
he is a very, very good golf player. I mean, I've tried. I mean, do you say golf player? I don't know.
Golfer, Jake.
Golfer, yeah. Golfer. See, and obviously that brings it back to me, is that I never really resonated with the sport or anything like that, and I went into music.
Okay.
So for the first kind of our uni kind of stage was pursuing our passion. So I was in a band for about 5 years.
Okay.
We experienced loads of really cool stuff. And again, that set me on the path to creating content and actually marketing ourselves as a band and, and trying to build brand and all that kind of thing. Whereas Jack went more down the sport route. And it's organically happened so that we're both at the point we're at today. We're both working together because we actually have come across each other and worked together for a long, long time, just helping each other out. Whereas this is kind of the first time we've actually professionally worked with each other. So yeah, I don't know whether you have anything to add to that, Jack.
Hey, I think that was nice. That was nice, Jake. Thanks, man. It's one of those things. I mean, we both worked hard at our kind of business over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And about I'll say about a year and a bit ago. How long have we been going now, Jake? Year and a half? It's quite a short period.
Year and a half, yeah.
We've always kind of worked together, as Jake said, but I always wanted to actually go into business together, doing something that we're both passionate about. So that went straight to mainly building content, I'd say, in content creation. And then we leveraged that with social media marketing and started doing loads of that stuff too. And it was a bit of like, I kind of woke up in the middle of the night and I went, oh, we need to do something. Text Jake in the morning and said, Jake, we need to do something together. We need to use our kind of skill set. And then the media, well, it wasn't actually Media Bros at the start, was it, Jake? It was Hot Mug Media was kind of born, and then 4 months later we completely rebranded into the Media Bros.
I think again, coming to that, we leveraged our strengths. Not only was Jack a golfer, but he was also a personal trainer, and obviously the nature of being a personal trainer, you have to go out and get your own clients and build your client base and all that kind of thing. And we worked together to do that, and we built content and we designed it. Like we were doing things like going into London, and I was filming Jack do workouts in the public and things. And this was like before the whole Joe Wicks thing came about.
Okay, yeah.
And so it's very much like new to people. Like, we're putting videos out on Facebook of Jack acting like an absolute prat. And,
there's like literally a busy train station on the Central Line.
Yeah.
And it was like 5 p.m. and I was doing a workout in the middle of everyone. And that we kind of always made good engaging videos like that.
And we quickly found that it resonated with people, and we're seeing results, and we're seeing people were starting to kind of request different locations for workouts and all that kind of thing. And I'd already seen, really good engagement on videos I was doing in the band. And I think naturally we came to a point where we really valued organic content, especially video, because Jack obviously built his first business through that. I helped to build the band through that, and now I run another company, and I do the same thing there. And so we're essentially kind of flying the flag for content creation, putting yourself out there, sharing your message, sharing your story, and
more importantly, building brand with content. That's what we help business owners do, and that's what we've kind of helped them do for the last year and a half. So that is the be all end all of it, is building your brand with content on social media.
Yeah. And what's the kind of dynamic between you two? Do each of you kind of focus on certain areas, or is it kind of
I think that's one of the things that we quickly narrowed down right from the beginning, because we're very, very similar, as brothers, but also we recognize that we each have our own strengths and our own kind of shortcomings as well. Yeah. So, I will never, ever, ever say that I am, the guy that will go and sit in a room with business owners and help sell, this product that we've got. It doesn't really come natural to me. Whereas I'm a lot more kind of, based on my laptop, sat at home, creating content really, really quickly, getting, 48-hour turnaround, that kind of thing, getting things done. Whereas Jack is a lot more on the operational side. And again, which is why I think we work so well together, is that we don't try and encroach on each other's side, and we stick to what we know.
Yeah, I think that's so important, especially when you work with family members, or indeed, spouses or whatever, that you kind of identify that, and you kind of only get to that point by just trying things. I'm guessing from the beginning, you guys probably just tried a load of different stuff, and then it's only over time where you've kind of sort of narrowed it down to where your sort of key areas are.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that from the beginning, we always knew that Jake was going to be creating the majority, if not all, of the content.
Yeah.
And then I was going to do the communicating, the finance, the emails, everything that you could kind of think of around the content, because the content, really, the creation of it, is a full-time job for Jake. So it's kind of like 10 to 12 hours a day at his laptop, and he doesn't need to be dealing with any of the operational side of things. So we knew our strengths were right from the beginning, so we didn't even really test it, did we, Jake?
No.
We went, well, I know that I'm not the person on Final Cut. Jake is. And Jake also knows that he's not the person to sit in a room, like he said, with multiple business owners and strike deals. So it was, it was kind of, we knew our lanes. And we very quickly stayed in them.
Perfect. We're talking about video today, and as I said before, it's kind of the core, I guess, of a lot of what you do. As business owners, we're currently sort of running around, sort of thinking, where's my time best placed when it comes to marketing? And I think video is one of those things that are kind of always get put high up in the list. But sometimes for a lot of business owners, they may not initially go that route. Maybe they kind of worried about doing it, putting themselves in front of the camera, all that kind of stuff. From your perspective and from the people that you've worked with, why is video so important for businesses these days?
I think it's important to have more of a kind of a strategic overview of it. Yeah, I think when you're talking about video, when you're talking about it, I think like you said, people instantly, they put their guard up and they think, oh, I don't want to go on camera, I feel so awkward on camera, and they make excuses for themselves right from the beginning. Which is fine. I get it. Me and Jack, we're extroverts, you know, like we like being the face of the brand, and we will always put ourselves out there, and you know, we're not going to look like a Wally, but Jack more so than me. But I think what business owners need to start doing is actually viewing content and video, like you say, as an asset to their business. You know, nobody questions buying a accounting software or a CRM or even print media. It's still glamorized, like, by a lot of business owners who come from that traditional world. And it's almost like, I need marketing for my company. I need to kind of tick that box. But the one thing I'd say with video and content in general is that we're at a time now where the power of it is overwhelming. Like you post one video a day, you can do that. We're all on the level playing field. We all have a phone. We can all video ourselves. We've all got a kind of our own message that we can share, and it's unique to us, and it will help other people in a like-minded industry and everything. And I think the more you do it, and the more you're able to put yourself out there and put a video of yourself explaining something, what it does then is build a bank of assets. And you talk to any business owner, and one of the key things in running a business is to be able to actually build assets for the future, whether that be increasing your own value as a business, or whether that be when it comes to a stage where you want to sell. I think by adding content, by adding videos, by adding as much value to the world as possible, I think especially in this decade, it's becoming really, really relevant. And you think, you talk about leads, and you're talking about generating new leads in business and everything like that. The one place that these people now look at when they're researching your company isn't, searching your name in Google anymore. It
isn't a website either.
No, and
they go straight to Facebook. They go straight to Instagram.
It's looking at your Instagram, looking at your Facebook, seeing that bank of content that you've been doing and you've been working hard on for the last 3, 4, 5, however many years. And actually viewing it all, getting a lot of value from it, validating you as a business owner as well, seeing that you actually know your stuff, and that you're in front of the camera, you're providing value. And I think that in itself is why every single business owner should be out there, flying that flag. And it doesn't have to be them either. Everybody thinks, I'm kind of head of the business. I run this business. I need to be on front, I need to be in the camera. But, there might be other people within your company that are more suited to that. And it's important to kind of realize that, you don't have to be the one always, at the front on the camera, because it might not come natural to you, but there will be other people that it does. So, that's my take on video. That's my take on content in general, is that, it's silly not to do them. Everybody ticks a box with accounting and with CRMs and marketing, traditional marketing, but building content, building brand on social media is another asset that every business owner should, start looking at doing.
That should definitely be up there with the things that Jake mentioned. And I mean, much like this podcast, Ross, I mean, this is IP. This is this is an asset of yours. Once you build this podcast and you build it around your company, it's then going to make you, and it's going to make your company more valuable. So that's exactly the same as content. It all comes down to building IP, intellectual property.
And I think for me, one of the great things about video is that you're able to kind of put across your business personality, kind of all the stuff that makes you do what you do, and giving that insight. And I think that's what's really great about the sort of content you guys put out as well, is that, not just from, the work that you're getting involved with, but you're able to kind of see behind the scenes stuff. You're able to see kind of, reasons why you're doing certain things. It gives prospective clients, I think, just a really great insight before they've even kind of met you or
and that's another benefit as well, is the social proof aspect. We all talk about building brand and giving value out to the world, but actually there's not many things more powerful than, and I always said, and we said it in the post the other day, is that a potential customer seeing a current customer go through your product cycle, go through and purchase your products and services. Because I think for that, we've all done it. We've all gone on Amazon, and we've all looked at the reviews on Amazon before we actually purchase the product. Humans' take on things is far more important to us to build trust with a company. And again, video can help establish that.
When you kind of work with people, I guess from the start, I guess maybe you're looking at their sort of marketing as a whole, and video is something that comes up. And, I'm guessing that probably a lot of people are kind of reluctant, maybe when you mentioned videos, like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do that. Why do you think people are reluctant, especially businesses are reluctant in that first initial stage to kind of put themselves out there through video?
I think the biggest issue with business owners in general is time.
Sure.
So that's just a really, really easy get out and excuse for the majority of business owners.
Yeah.
And actually, to film a video, even with a couple of takes, will take a couple of minutes. So I think it's prioritizing actually what you want to get from your business and how you're going to market yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies, well, we're astounded. We'll go to fairly large companies and say, okay, cool. What's your marketing budget? What have we got to play with? And a lot of them will say, I don't know, really. We haven't really got one. When that is the biggest budget, that should be your biggest business budget. So I think it's just realigning things and seeing as a business and a business owner what's important and how best to reach your potential audience.
And coming on to that as well is, and I think being self-aware enough to know actually why you are running a business. Are you running it for the long term? Are you running it to sell it within the next couple of years? Are you retiring in the next year? I think as long as everybody gets ahead in the mindset that, I am running this business because I want to do this for the rest of my life, as opposed to I'm just trying to kind of pay myself every single month, then I think marketing, building brand, creating content, filming videos and stuff becomes a bit more of a thing that actually you don't mind doing.
Yeah.
And also, I think coming on to that as well, I think a lot of people are scared to do it. A lot of people are scared to, put themselves out there and be at risk of, having the mickey taken out of them. Like, we've all got mates, haven't we, that you post something online and they're the first ones to WhatsApp you saying, what on earth are you doing? And me and Jack are lucky in the sense that, we are brothers, we support each other, and actually we don't really mind and care that other people might see it that way. And I think, that we're in this for the long game. We're in this to, build brand, and we put our post again, yesterday is, we just love the process of it all. We love being able to actually put value out to the world and help people, and that's why we're doing it. So that's why it becomes natural to us of being on camera and putting ourselves out there. So again, just checking in with yourself, understanding why you're doing it, not being scared of what people think is a big one. And just going for it. Once you get the first video out of the way, you're done. Then you can do as many.
You're away. Yeah.
Suddenly you're validated. Suddenly all your mates are taking the mick out of you, and then okay, well, there's nothing to lose here, so I can keep doing them.
Yeah. And that's something that actually really resonates with myself, in that, for ages, that's kind of one of the things that I just kind of putting off because of the fact, I was concerned as to what people would think about me, friends, family, all that kind of stuff. But then you get to the point where you think, sod it, and you just kind of get on with it. And like you say, once you start the ball rolling, you start to do something, it gets so much easier.
Yeah, and people get used to it, and people know, oh, that's Ross again. He's talking about that topic, and then it becomes much more of a natural thing. We were talking to an influencer the other night, and we were both we were having a conversation that actually those who are more willing to put themselves out there and step in front of the curtain and actually show themselves for who they are and be authentic are always going to be the ones that become more successful and build better futures for themselves than the people that choose just to hide everything behind.
And I think often we kind of think, we worry about what people think, but in reality, a lot of people are just getting on with their own stuff. Do you know what I mean? They're just going about their day. I think we have the onus that we kind of think people are watching us all the time, and
it's because we're like, no one nature. And no one cares. Do they?
Yeah.
No one cares. Like, nobody's watching. Nobody's looking at you, and even if they did think, oh, that's a bit weird, that's like a 5-minute thing, and then they're on to the next thing.
And as you know, with most algorithms and stuff anyway, not a lot of people may be seeing you, without paid.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that's everybody's job to make sure they get seen. Lots and lots of videos.
Yeah. At the top of the podcast, you mentioned about having intention when you're making content, because it's super important that you're not just kind of either putting stuff out for the sake of it, or you haven't got kind of a clear plan. When people start to get involved with video and start to create videos, what do you see as kind of common mistakes in that, maybe around sort of not having the intention and kind of what that means to sort of the output again?
I think it's important that you speak from your brand voice and you actually talk about a subject that you know at least a reasonable amount about. We've seen people get in front of the camera and try to talk about something which is relevant, and it just completely backfiring. So definitely, to make yourself more comfortable in front of the camera and actually to do more video, get in front of the camera and talk about something that you're passionate about and that resonates with your business, your personal brand.
Yeah, because there's a certain level of overthinking, isn't there? Like you kind of think, okay, I'm in this industry, I should be talking about that. I'm going to try and make a video about that. And actually, if it doesn't come natural to you, if it's like a topic that you don't actually know much about, people see through it. People know exactly, you know, that you're not very knowledgeable on the subject, and therefore, you know, they don't resonate with what you're saying. So I think that is as a result of overthinking. I think if you just made a list, like we always say to business owners, you know, think of all the questions that customers have asked you over the last year, write them all down, and then create response videos and just put them out as content. You know, like people ask us, how can we actually produce a podcast? So, you know, we're going to make a video about it, and we're not going to address that individual, and we're going to address, you know, everybody, because if they're asking it and they're part of our audience and they engage a lot with what we do, there's a good chance everybody else does as well. So like, don't overthink it. Don't like look at the TV and think, okay, I must have a take on Brexit. Like, you know,
then I must video it to the world, because that is the worst thing you can do.
Just stay in your lane, know exactly, you know, what you want to provide the world with, and go for it. And the cool thing is as well, like Ross, like being a photographer, I imagine know a lot about cameras, and you know, and the cool thing is that there's other people who aspire to be like you, who want to become a photographer, who that are just going to gorge on your content, you know, and who are going to, you know, listen to you talking about the latest camera and how you edit videos and how you edit photos and things like that. And I think, you know, and yes, half the world, you know, no offense to you, Ross, you know, half the world might not care. But there's going to be a small audience.
Let's be honest, Ross. It'll be more than half the world. But who cares? Like, there's going to be people who you impact with your message.
Yeah. And therefore, you know, I think if every business owner took the mindset of, I'm going to actually make content for my audience and not to gain new audience, then I think you'll grow quicker.
I want to provide value. How do I go about doing that whilst displaying my message and what my company's all about? That should be the motto.
Yeah, I know from listening to you guys before, you're big Gary Vee fans as well, and you know that whole thing about sort of you know, documenting rather than creation. So what are you doing day to day? Start on that. Use that as kind of the bones for a lot of the stuff, and in a way, you don't kind of have to think about it, because you're just kind of documenting what you're doing on the day to day, you know, rather than sort of thinking, I've got to do a video on this and that. That's kind of quite an easy entrance sort of into that sort of field.
Yeah, and again, if you've got a business as well where you're providing services, then you are one step above everybody else, because you can actually create content on the job. You know, I've got another company that I run that, you know, we offer music lessons.
Okay.
And we get content on the job. So we'll provide content for our students and for their parents and close network to actually look and see their progress, but we'll also use it to, you know, reinstate what we're doing and put it out to the world. And I think if you are a PT, or if you are, you know, a gym owner or anything, like, you can actually, you don't have to spend a whole morning out of the office in front of a camera talking to it. I think that's really important for business owners to know that actually it's there in front of them. And actually, again, with social proof, everything, like, you can do it without that.
Yeah. And when you kind of take on new clients, maybe, you know, you've approached videos are the way to go. How do you kind of get people sort of just to start using that content? Is there kind of a way that you can kind of start to easily incorporate it into your sort of marketing?
I mean, we give a lot of our clients ideas. So cool little hacks. Involving staff is a really big one for those people who do have team members. Involve them, like show your community, show that the family is at the office. It's quite a big one, because that'll resonate with people a lot more than some boring content would. But that's one of the big ones. We give a lot of ideas to business owners and how they could create an impact with video. And we try and keep it simple. Like, it doesn't need to. You don't need to go from room to room. You don't need, to be in a really lovely location. Actually, just talk to a camera about what you do.
No,
and I said to one of our clients today, because he was, again, slightly worried about exactly what you just said there. And I said, you don't have to talk into the camera.
Yeah, true.
That talking into the camera can be difficult. However, people find when a camera is on them, talking like you're looking over the right shoulder of the person who's holding the camera, that can become a lot easier. Or get your mate to stand there and ask you questions. That could be a lot easier too. Or I think a big one is a lot of people find talking into the back camera or the front camera of their phone in selfie mode is a lot easier than someone holding up a camera in front of them. All these little hacks just kind of help people create videos. But
and in terms of the subjects as well, like another big thing Jack and I get asked is, how do I know what to actually create a video about? How do I know what to create content around? And I came to it previously, but FAQs from clients is a big one. But another thing is actually to every time you're in the car, every time you're walking or anything, or at work or anything, like think of all the things that you've that have to do with your industry. And there's a website called BuzzSumo, BuzzSumo, so BUZZSUMO. Head on that and search for topics and trending topics in your industry. You will then get like a top 10 list of everything that everybody's ever talking about in the last month, last year, last 6 months, whatever. And then just duplicate those topics, but deliver them from your voice and your company's voice.
Yeah, that FAQ FAQ, I was going to say FHM there for a minute. FAQ.
Or that. Yeah, don't create that kind of content. Yeah, Jack and I are currently doing that.
That FAQ content, because pretty much everyone listening to this is going to have a website, most probably, and most probably they're going to have an FAQ page on there, or they might have a client guide that they send out, which has all that in there as well. So that's a great space to start, and that's probably content you've already got sitting there somewhere on a hard drive somewhere.
Yeah, and again, and document as well. We'd always talk about we're talking about creating content. Document it like we're doing right now. I mean, I'm sat at home in my pajamas talking to you, Ross. Yeah. Like there are people in your industry as a business owner who are worth talking to. That somebody high up as a butcher. Yeah. Who like in your sector, who your audience follow and like, there is that guy. He is there. That guy or girl. He can be talked to, and actually, you can discuss, how to butcher. I don't even know if that's the term.
But that sounds terrible. Yeah.
But I come up with these kind of analogies all the time. But
I don't know where your mind goes, man.
No, but my point is that there are people out there in your industry who everybody wants to hear you having a conversation with.
Yeah.
So think about that too.
Yeah, definitely. I want to talk about sort of platforms for a little bit as well. In that, there's a plethora of so many platforms now. I guess people using is YouTube still the number one, the place to kind of host that content?
YouTube. Sorry, Jake.
Yeah, you go, mate. Yeah, you go.
YouTube. In terms of monetizing a brand, at the moment, I'd say YouTube is still number one. And the financial gain you can get off a single platform. Yeah. But in terms of reach at the moment, we'll go on to it, I'm sure. But TikTok is really becoming a huge platform. Yeah. But longer form videos, obviously YouTube's great. And well, we have a YouTube channel, but so Jake will have it. Jake, you add on that.
Yeah, no, I think. My answer to that, again, it comes back to overthinking, is actually just to go for a platform that you feel comfortable with. Yeah. Like I personally, I don't go on Reddit, but I know it's a very, very, popular platform that a lot of people go on. Yeah. But because it doesn't come natural to me, I staying in your lane, knowing exactly what you're used to. And I've been with Instagram since it launched, and I've been with Facebook since it launched. And, those two platforms to me are the ones that come most natural to me. Those are the ones that I'm thinking about on a daily basis. Having said that, we mentioned it earlier, LinkedIn is a huge one, especially in the B2B sphere. Yeah. And especially if you can create content, business content and that kind of thing on there, then that's going to over-index more than something you'd maybe put on TikTok as a business owner at this stage. However, we can't ignore the fact that TikTok has, over 50% of their users aren't on any other platform.
Yeah.
So there's a generation that are coming that are used to being entertained, and they're used to consuming entertaining content. And therefore, when they do grow up, and then when they do become consumers of your business, you need to be ready for that. You as a business owner, you are responsible for putting down the plan to be responsible for that moment when this generation comes up and they're relying on entertaining content, because brand loyalty is going to be at a stage where it has never been before.
And I'll definitely say as well, depending on the type of content you're making, will depend on the platform you're most suited to.
Sure.
So if you're making that longer form content, the more informational content, and then YouTube and LinkedIn will be really prevalent for you. But if you're making those shorter videos, the engaging, entertaining videos, and then Instagram might be your thing, So I definitely think a business owner, for example, will be suited to LinkedIn, whereas a personal brand and influencer will be to Instagram. So it depends on the content you make and the content you enjoy making.
And the good news, it all can be repurposed too, and it's just, we'll touch upon this in a minute, I'm sure. But part of what Jack and I specialize in is, that video can turn into multiple pieces of content and therefore multiple assets, and it can be suited to any platform. There's moments in the podcast that we produce that, Jack and I will say something silly that probably is suited a little more to Instagram than it is to LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And coming back to it as well, YouTube for longer form stuff, if you keyword it properly, then that is your SEO, because, Google own YouTube. So therefore you're creating content that can actually be viewed then on the back end. That is actually helping you rank higher on Google. Business owners, threat about SEO and being top of the list. Whereas actually if you produced content on
YouTube content,
content on a regular basis on YouTube, then, not only will you rank higher, but you will also have those videos there that can be clicked and watched, and people can recognize your value straight away.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the common mistakes that people think, when they talk about SEO, the old style was to worry about making sure that your website had all the tags and all that kind of stuff. But just by creating regular content, I think you'll agree, is some of the best ways to kind of create traction in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, it comes overthinking. The business owner has a website, and they'll make sure that every single image is properly optimized and, tagged and keyworded, like you said. Whereas actually, an interview with somebody else in your field with a good copy and a good headline could lead to more sales than, ranking higher on Google, because it's something there that, consumers, customers, leads can instantly watch and consume that, that website just can't deliver that.
Yeah. You mentioned before as well also about, one of the things that none of us have a lot of time of is time itself, and just making the time to do these things. For the people that are kind of listening to this, they're kind of thinking, well, yeah, that's all right, but I've just got no time to do it. Is there any sort of actionable tips or things you can give to the listeners around kind of how they could kind of incorporate it or make it sort of sustainable in a way, so they know that when to do it, when to remember to do it, all that kind of stuff?
The biggest thing, you go, Jack.
Yeah, I think it comes down back to, again, the document, not create. If your head and your mind is focused on documenting content for your business, you're going to do way more.
Yeah,
because it's gonna fall in the periods that you're working anyway. Yeah. So I think that's definitely a big one.
And I think coming on to that as well, like we've learned more than ever to batch content and to actually, don't see it as like tomorrow I'm going to film one video and that be it. For tomorrow. Block out a morning and afternoon, the whole day to actually film all of your month's content, because not only will you be more efficient, but you'll be on a better roll. You won't need to kind of get into the headspace to do it again. Tim Ferriss talks about it a lot in 4-Hour Work Week. If you're able to actually batch that work together, your output is going to be a lot more efficient and a lot more effective than it would be if you decided to dip in and out, every single week. So we do it with our podcast. We have 4 guests lined up, and we'll film all 4 in one morning. and that just works for us. Not saying that it wouldn't work for anybody else or it would work for somebody else, but we know then that we've got 4 every single month. We then enter a bit of a workflow where we will edit the main video, we'll edit the repurposed clip for Instagram, we re-edit the story, and it gets into a bit of a robotic phase and a bit of a production line. So if you can get into the habit, and habit's a big word there, is I think everything in life and in business is built around creating the right habits. And if you can create the right habits and you can actually make time for yourself, create that stuff and batch it together, then I think you'll have better results and actually more time at the end of the day, because you won't be threatening about the one thing that you don't want to do, which for a lot of business owners at the moment is unfortunately creating a video.
and it's the scheduling of it as well. So using platforms like Buffer to schedule out your content as well. I mean, I schedule out content in like 4 hours of a Monday morning. Like all of the content that we need, clients need, and it all takes time. But if you do it all in one moment when you're in the right headspace to do so, and then it won't feel so painful.
I'm totally vouch for that as well. Whether it's blog posts, podcast recordings, like you say, social media posts. Before, I remember when I used to kind of do bits and pieces of different stuff, and then maybe you'd record something, then you were going to have to do a shoot or something like that, and just that time moving from one thing to the other and kind of getting from that first mindset to what you're going to do to switch into the next one, that was exhausting in itself. So you have to kind of play to that strength, as you were saying, and just kind of sit down and think, what am I going to do this morning? I'm going to do this for so many hours or whatever. And you find that you just get so much more done. You can schedule a whole month of social media posts in a certain amount of time. It's just the technology,
isn't it?
The technology's there to. There's never been a better time, to have the tools available to us to do these things. So,
and the big thing we learned quickly was to actually not, as soon as we create a video, not to post it that night or the next day. To be okay with the fact that actually, yes, you created that video and you've done really well in doing that, and you've edited it, but doesn't necessarily need to go out tomorrow. It can go out next month. You can get a bit of a habit in actually scheduling and producing that content for a longer period of time, as opposed to just like, I want it out now.
And I think over time you get a feel for kind of, for your business, what are the best times to kind of post these things as well, when you're sort of scheduling them up and that kind of thing. I think there's common rules of thumb around some of this stuff, but you'll know over time, especially if you've got kind of stats and things in the background, you'll kind of get a feel for when people are kind of resonating with your content.
Look at your insights. Just assess your insights and have a look. When's the best time? What posts have done well? What posts have kind of got more reach? And then you can figure it out.
Yeah, perfect. We mentioned before you've worked with lots of different brands in different areas. What have you seen kind of the overall benefits of your clients once they've started to adopt video into their marketing?
I think just the engagement and and just being able to, every single day putting out a piece of content. Again, like we talk about assets, you might not get the ROI that night, but chances are the more you do it, then you're going to get it, in a week's time, 2 weeks time, a month's time. So I just think just having that bank and that library of content, putting it out every single day, and storytelling is a big thing that we touched upon as well. Is actually, not just posting a picture of an icon and saying we deliver this because of this, and, not being too selly, being able to actually provide value in your story to that post, explaining that. Well, I mean, we talk to business owners all the time and they tell us these amazing stories. And, I just smile and I just say, why aren't you posting that? Like, why aren't you telling me? So why aren't you telling everybody else in the world? Because I've instantly had an emotional attachment to what you just said. So I think you should put that out and tell people, that picture of your first office that you had 10 years ago, in comparison to what you have now, transformations, all that kind of thing. If you can add a story, you can add that kind of emotional side to it, then that's a massive thing. But in terms of coming back to your question, the benefits, building brand, and again, we talk about ROI and things like that, and we're in a tricky stage at the moment when we talk to business owners to try and convince them that this is the right path to take, is that actually there is no financial monetary thing that we can say to them, look, you're going to end up with $5,000 if you post this post. it's that trust, and it's that, you know, willingness to build for the long-term future, and to realize that, you know, your first video isn't going to get any views or any likes, but if you keep doing it every single day, you keep plugging away, then, you know, in a year, 2 years time, then you will result in the rewards.
I think that's that long game thing, and just having that patience around, you know, just keep putting the content out. And then, you know, as long as you're passionate about what you're doing and it kind of gives that spark to you every time you do it, you know, people that will resonate with it will come at some point.
I think that's key, and it resonates to us, Jake, and our journey, because at the start of Media Bros, we're just a couple of lads from Suffolk who were starting this brand new business and thought, well, we want to build brand, and we only cared about brand. We didn't even care about the financial aspect of what it gave us for the first 6 months. So we struck these relationships whilst giving free value to people. And then brand does build. Your audience builds, kind of your name builds, your reputation builds, and then you're given these big jobs because people trust you because you've worked with them. Do you know what I mean? You've worked with them. We don't. Do you want us to send you examples? No, we don't need to see your examples. You've worked with them. It's like, I mean, that kind of, it's almost like brand security.
Yeah, it's just
like knowing, not having to even explain your services. If you can build brand like that, and then you're winning.
It's just all positioning, isn't it? You know, positioning yourself in the market you want to be in, and just kind of creating it as you go. And then, as you say, these things have a funny way of just coming to you in the end, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Absolutely.
Well, we started off, you know, Instagram DM. You know, the one platform that we feel like we've probably utilized and leveraged the most is Instagram, purely for the fact that Jack went ham in on Instagram DM, and that wasn't things like, you know, hello, we are a social media marketing company. Like, it was just stuff like, you know, hi, we love what you do. We noticed that thing you posted up the other day about bacon sandwiches. Like, how about we come and we film you making a bacon sandwich for your audience on Instagram. We're happy to do it for free, just so you can see exactly how we work. And then, you know, that is literally in the last year how we've grown to where we are now, is purely from actually giving people value on the front end. And then, you know, not with any agenda or anything like that, because we, you know, we don't expect anything back. But when it does come back, it's quite nice to know that actually it did come as a result of taking that punt and actually, you know, betting on ourselves and knowing that we deliver good work, and then it comes back to you. So, yeah.
I think there's so much to be said from that. Just have that mindset and that approach, just going at it like that, going at it in what can I do for you, rather than kind of what am I going to get in return. And I think, you know, that's such an easy way for you to stand out in a sea of other people doing the opposite.
I think business owners are selling benefits too much, when actually it's like, this is the problem I'm going to solve for you. Like with the content club, and we'll come onto it. We are gonna significantly decrease your marketing budget. We are going to make sure that you don't need to pay a videographer or an in-house designer or whatever that will be. Like we are going to do these things for you. We're going to take away your time. You're going to have more time in your business. We are going to sort that out for you. And like, having that confidence that you are going to achieve those things is so important.
People love that.
We still see people like ask for followers. and it baffles me. Like, it baffles me that still, you know, like, you know, Gary Vee talks about it a lot, like we've just mentioned, but like the vanity metric of having 1 more, 2 more followers than your competitor on Instagram, like, what does that mean? And better yet, like, people are still going on Twitter saying, I need 2 more followers to reach 100. Like, who cares?
What does that mean? What does that 2 followers mean to you? You know, in the scheme of things, that if you want to get to 10K or whatever it is, or wherever you want to get to, it's probably 9K of those people just couldn't give a crap about what you're putting out. So all the stuff that you're putting out there is just going to fall on deaf ears. You know,
absolutely. It's, you know, the smallest viable audience. If you had, you know, 100 people who shout your name every single day, it's much better than 1,000 that don't. So,
for people kind of listen to our conversation this evening, and maybe they're thinking, you know, this is something I want to progress in, and maybe they're thinking about whether to go it alone or kind of work with someone to help them create their sort of content and all their marketing stuff. What kind of advice would you give if they were going down the route of working with someone? What to look out for when sort of looking to work with someone?
Cool, that is a good question.
A good question. I think paying per hour is a big one.
Okay.
Something that we've come across is that, it kind of comes intuitive to us all. We'll look on there's outsourcing sites like Fiverr and pay people per hour and things like that.
Yeah.
And we look for the cheapest rate, and we look for that person who charges only £10 an hour instead of 70. But I think we need to start having a conversation about is that person who's doing it for £10 an hour could take 6 hours, whereas that person who's doing it for 70 an hour, because they're so good and they've so experienced, they could take an hour. Or they could take I think that is the biggest thing. And we do it with, it's human nature. It's how we consume. You go on, you look for the cheapest flight, and then I look on the news and I see somebody else moaning about Ryanair, and I'm thinking, you went on and you bought the cheapest flight you could, and again, some people might have to, and that's fine, but others will just do it because it's £10 cheaper than another. They won't go based on experience. And I think that is a thing, is that if you're looking for a videographer, if you're looking for somebody who's going to manage your social media or anything like that, don't be fooled by how cheap they are, because Jack and I were talking about this the other day, is when you talk about marketing, you talk about needing that big budget in order to do it and actually make an impact. It shouldn't be a role within your business that you just outsource and you forget about and it's a box ticked, because it will catch up with you. I talked about the generation that are coming up that expect to be entertained and expect to consume good quality content. If you are getting your brother's niece who knows, who has got her own,
who's at college, that's the big one.
Who's at college. And again, there are people at college who are brilliant and know exactly what they're doing and know more than your head of marketing. But I think it's important for business owners to realize that it can't be just outsourced to their daughter who knows who runs an Instagram account for herself, because Gary V talks about it as well, that we talked about, but she might not have sold anything for a business ever before. And so my point there is to just be careful. I think for any business owner out there looking for social media management, looking for videography, anything like that, don't be fooled by the hourly rate, because that can be quite misconstrued, and go for what you think is right for your brand, not what you think is just going to tick a box.
I think that's,
and I think it also comes down to, sorry, I was to interrupt.
No,
I think it comes down to what you actually looking to achieve. What is your final goal for your business? If you're looking to build brand and one day sell for a good price, then you need it to be done properly. Actually, but if you're looking to stay at the same and maintain and just put a couple of pictures on social just to make sure that people know you're there, and then your daughter could probably do it. But understand what you're trying to achieve with things. If you're trying to build brand, make sure it's managed properly and make sure your content is the same.
I think a really good reflection as well is to sometimes we kind of look for the cheapest option when it comes to any sort of outsourced service, but then think about when people come to you for your service and the frustration that you have around when people say, it's too cheap and that kind of thing. And I think if you can keep yourself in that position, think about what it's like from that that full conversation that you have maybe day to day with clients as well. It's sometimes a misalignment. We kind of want one thing, but we don't want the other. And I think if we can kind of bring that all together.
I think it's important to know what your priority is. You wouldn't get your daughter to service the boiler just because they like the warmth.
You get your wife, Jack.
Just because you'd get someone who's a professional who knows what they're doing, even though it's going to be quite a bit of money. And that's the really important thing. It's the same with all aspects of life. But I think at the moment, and I think it's happening, the content and the integral importance of content is starting to become higher and higher. So people are starting to realize, actually, I do need content. I do need high quality content to build brand on social media. So it's becoming as important as getting your car looked after or your boiler. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know it's a strange analogy. I don't know why I thought that.
And kind of to build a picture for people that are kind of thinking about working with someone, what is the kind of the process that you would take a new client down? So I'm guessing it starts with the initial kind of consultation phase, and then kind of just walk us through kind of what your kind of maybe your monthly input is, daily input, how it kind of works out.
So we think it's incredibly important for a potential client, somebody that kind of falls into our net and asks us, how can we help them, is to, again, like Jack said, not list, the bullet points that they're, the benefits that they'll get. Actually, talk with them and find out what their pain points are, explain to them actually how we're able to help. You want more time with the family, you want to go away, or you want to go on holiday, and you don't want to spend, after 5 o'clock working on your content, whilst you should be actually taking a bit of time to relax and chill and watch the TV. Like we're here to kind of help with that and help balance things with that.
Yeah.
Because quite, more often than not, yes, we've got those, benefits, we've got those bullet points, that we talk about, but, it's those aren't the things that get a customer over the line to actually purchase. What a customer needs is that kind of that trust and that knowledge that actually you're going to help change their lives, without sounding corny, without sounding cheesy. Like we do it with all things. I was listening to a Seth Godin book the other day, and he talked about a drill bit. And he said that, nobody buys a drill bit because they want a drill bit. They buy a drill bit because they want, to put the shelf up, and they don't want, as we go, and I think it's important to recognize that actually what you think is a really cool thing, and what you think is a really important feature of your product isn't necessarily what your client is looking for. And I think it's about being empathetic and understanding exactly what your client and your customer needs. And it changes with everybody. And actually how you can help and how you can, diagnose their pain points. And we are playing, as business owners, we are doctors, because especially in the B2B world, is that we are here to help each other out. We are here, to get somebody from A to B. And it's our job to be trusted in that process, and to allow your customer to actually believe that you are the right person to take them from A to B, and that they're in good hands.
This podcast is called Make Today Count, and the reason for that is my mission really was to enable conversation in lots of different areas of life, to enable people to feel more abundant in whatever that means to them. For a lot of people it's different, and whether it was business, health, all these aspects. And what I really wanted people to do is, after each episode, to take away just maybe one kind of actionable thing that they could do the next day, that where if they resonate with the conversation that we were having, that they could take on board and kind of make that one small step. When we're talking about video and all the stuff that we've spoken about this evening, and maybe the person that's listening is not doing anything with video at the moment, what could be that one small step that would sort of take them to that kind of start to move them towards where they want to go?
Should we give them 2 small steps? Jack, you can come up with one, I'll come up with one.
Go for it.
I think experiment. Get in front of your phone tomorrow and experiment talking about a topic that you're passionate about. You don't even have to post it. Just experiment in front of the camera and become more comfortable with it. And know that actually, Claire from Dunkirk, who says that's rubbish, doesn't matter.
Okay,
Claire, I don't care about you, Claire.
Who is Claire from Dunkirk?
I don't know, but I'm guessing actually isn't even a person called Claire in Dunkirk.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the opinions of others. Like you're there for your reason. Yeah. Be authentic. Get in front of the camera and just start testing things. Give it a go.
Okay, I'm going to go super actionable with mine.
Sure.
Okay.
As much as I love that, Jack, it's still quite like glossy. I'm going to go in on this one. I'm going to say tomorrow when you wake up, the first thing that you need to do is you need to go to Amazon. And again, you don't need to, but I want it to be like very actionable.
Don't be glossy, mate.
Yeah. Sorry. Go to Amazon and buy again, the very cheap, a iPhone tripod.
I thought you were going to say iPhone then. That's a calm down, Jake.
An iPhone tripod. If you can get one with a ring light, even better, because it means your video is going to be well lit. So an iPhone tripod with a ring light. Again, Ross, you'd know a bit more about that than I would. So I guess if anybody listening wants to ask, then they can ask you, Ross. But go to Amazon, buy one of those, get it sent next day delivery. If you've got Prime, if you haven't, don't worry, wait 2 or 3 days. Then the next thing you need to do is make a list of, again, we're going to do the FAQ strategy. Every single question that your business or you have been asked about your business over the last year. So, if you have got a set of FAQs, brilliant, go for them, make a list of all of them. Allocate time next week, next month, whenever you've actually got a morning or an afternoon to batch together a list of videos and stand there with your phone on your new tripod, with your list of topics that you're going to talk about. Spend a minute on each to actually discuss them in front of camera and answer them in front of camera and answer them for your whole audience, not just for, the one person that asked you the other day. If you struggle with that, if you're worrying about that and you're not thinking, I'm going to mess up, I'm going to say the wrong thing or anything like that, there is an app called Teleprompter on your app store that you can download and actually write down your content that you want to deliver to camera too. And it's, I believe it's a free app, but search Teleprompter in App Store, download it, write all of your content out for each FAQ. Put your phone on your tripod with your ring light and read from your screen. It will film you as you do. Read from your screen, and then you've got, if you've got 10 FAQs, that's 10 videos, which means you put one out every single week. That's 10 weeks worth of content there. So I think that in itself is something that everybody can go and do. If you haven't got money for a tripod, don't worry. Like, prop your phone up on something. If you haven't got a phone, I'm sure somebody might have a phone that can video you. Like, it's super basic, like literally.
Well, if you haven't got anyone you know.
Well, I don't know, like then we can't help. But no, seriously, like, that is something that everybody can go and do starting tomorrow. So that's a little challenge for all of your listeners, Ross.
God, I went motivation, you went actionable. I like it.
And that's the challenge we'll do then, guys. If you're listening to this, remember to tag in the Media Bros. We need a hashtag. What about, who was it? Jane from Dunkirk, was it?
Claire from Dunkirk.
Claire from Dunkirk.
Yeah,
Ross. Not
So hashtag Claire from Dunkirk is the hashtag to use when you're making those videos. If you want to tag us in, we'll pick them up that way as well. And also tag in the Media Pros as well. Really good actionable content we can do next time. We've also got some listener questions that we'll quickly want to go through as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So these have come from LinkedIn. The first one is from Tony Southgate. Hi, Tony. Thanks for chiming in.
Yeah, I think we know Tony.
Oh, do you? Oh, perfect.
Yeah. I spoke to Tony before.
Perfect. So Tony wants to know what their favourite lenses to film with is.
Oh, this is a Jake question.
Okay. Well, again, it's one of those things, staying in our lanes and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Although we talk about video per se, we're much more about content creation and actually marketing with videos and selling your products using video. So when it comes to that nitty gritty stuff, I'll be honest, I'll say that I probably don't know as much as, another videographer or anything like that. But I do have a nifty 50 millimeter lens that I use, that I've used for years now. And that is a very good lens at actually getting, depth of field, all that kind of thing. So that it would be my answer to that. Although I would say that if you've got an iPhone, then you can deliver your message using that.
The nifty 50s are the best money you can spend on. If you want to just go out and buy a lens that's so versatile, for whether it be for video or stills, and whatever platform you're on, whether it's Canon, Nikon, or whatever, they're so cheap. You can get the entry level one for about 60 quid, I think, on Canon, something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember I've got one of the other models now, but that original one I had for years and years. It's just
I've had my even still, we film with cameras that a lot of people might think, oh, why are you filming that? Like, we film with like Tangle teaser boots and with cameras that aren't really what you would think we would film with, but they do the job. They do the job. So equipment isn't a thing that you should be overthinking and stopping you from actually doing what you should be doing.
And as we know, the best camera that we've got is usually in our pocket anyway. So
absolutely,
it's most accessible for sure.
Yes, most accessible. Yeah. The other question we've got is from Bernadette, and Bernadette, I'm just going to read this out. So Linda Huckle, the inventor of LinkedIn, said that nowadays people watch clips with sound on. Modern people prefer subtitles from sounds. In your opinion, experience, how does this method of using videos can be met or avoided? So I think it's around the use of subtitles and your sort of take on, is it important to have within your videos, or is it important still to just go with the audio? What you think?
I think a stat come out about a year ago, which said 80% of people watch videos on mute. So there you go. That tells. I mean, subtitles, in our opinion, are so important. Remember, people watch a lot of videos when they're at work or they're on the train or on the bus. So they don't want the sound on. So they want the visual, and then they want subtitles. So important.
Yeah, we caption all of our videos. You know, and again, if you want to become a member of the Content Club, then we caption all of those videos too. But I think, again, it's one of those things that I would hate to be sitting here talking about this, and then somebody who's listening to this whole podcast thinks, oh no, I need to caption my video. I'm not going to do a video tomorrow. Yeah. Because actually, you know, I think as a minimum, you should be putting out videos. As a bonus, if you caption them, if you can add subtitles to them, then that's going to help, especially like Jack said, if somebody's on a tube or on a bus or even at home watching television with their other half. And I've been there before, where I'm scrolling down, watching videos without the sound of, but still being able to consume them. Then you don't want to forget about those people. So if you can caption, brilliant. If not, you know, still put it out.
Just small steps.
Small steps. Yeah, absolutely.
Start with filming the video. Just do that first. Worry about subtitles later.
And guys, you mentioned Content Club on there. I want to talk about kind of, you know, what's new for you guys. What have you got coming up? I know Content Club is your baby at the moment. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So I'll go, Jake. So Content Club, I mean, essentially it's in pre-launch, really. We haven't actually put it out to market yet. We've been beta testing it for around 6 months. Trying it with clients, trying it with kind of people who are in our circle, and we've had amazing feedback back. So basically, the crux of it is clients send us videos in landscape, and they will get 6 repurposed content assets back within 1 to 2 business days, and they have unlimited requests on a monthly basis. So essentially, you can queue up your videos with us, and you can get 50 plus bits of content per month, all custom branded, all including subtitles, different graphics for platforms. So a few content assets are in the package. You can choose 6: our Instagram video, Facebook video, IGTV, YouTube thumbnails, horizontal and vertical, words on screen with voiceover, quote graphic. And there's transcribed blog. There's a few others in there as well. So it's basically looking after all of your content needs, essentially.
And that's the thing as well. Like we want to set a way that we can, you know, maximize people's business owners' potential online. And you know, at this stage of what we just talked about, if there's somebody tomorrow who's about to film their first video and they put it out, we want to extend that shelf life of that video. So, you know, we want to be able to give them assets that they can then post on Instagram, IGTV, Twitter, LinkedIn, you know, even have optimized Facebook ad videos as well that they can use for their business. So all for a flat fee every single month, unlimited basis. So you could send in, you know, as many videos as you like. It all gets queued up, and we turn it around in 48 hours for you as well. So there is no kind of time restraint either on, you know, that first video and getting it out.
I think the biggest thing we found working with clients was the cost of a videographer. And the cost of actually having someone to record and edit videos is just huge. And unless you are a big medium to big company with a decent sized marketing budget, you can't afford that. So that's exactly why we have brought this product, and exactly why we've worked so hard on developing it, because this is literally a product where all of your content needs can be sorted for free, just under £300 a month, rather than someone coming in for half a day and charging £500.
So and the thing is with that video that you get, you know, you get charged half a day for, is that you post that out, and then, like we said, that the next day, it's gone. J-Lo performed in the Super Bowl at the weekend, and like we're all talking about it. But
don't know why.
in 6 months' time, nobody will be talking about it anymore. If J-Lo had a team of repurposing content from that show for the next 6 months, then that viewership of that Super Bowl show would go up and up and up and up and up. So if you can leverage your content, then, and if you can repurpose it for multiple platforms and therefore for multiple consumers, then you're going to win. So I mean, Jack and I are very, very kind of bullish on it, and we're very optimistic about it, and we think it is the thing that is going to help so many business owners if they do their part of the bargain and film that 1 minute, 5 minute video. So it's all about that. And again, part of it as well, you become part of our community too, and we offer advice, Q&As, and I think one of the biggest things as well is keep you accountable. If you don't film a video for a week, you'll be on your back. And we'll give you ideas as well and what you can film for, and provide content calendars, all that kind of thing. So we're excited about it. We do believe it is the future of marketing. It is where everything's heading, I think, in the next 10 years. And again, it means that exactly what you're paying every single month, and it's taken care of, as opposed to paying that big company to come in for that morning, that afternoon, and then not really knowing what then happens after.
Yeah. And you were saying some of the feedback you've been having in the beta stages has been pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, it's been nice because all the people that we've done it with have come back and talked about the different content assets which are really good. So some people have come back and said, "Oh, the quotes on screen, that is brilliant with the voiceover. That is amazing." And some people have come back and said, "Oh, the template in the Square Instagram video subtitles, that is exactly what I need." So it's like it's almost like we have created like a perfect content package. So no matter what platform you're really relevant in and you work really hard on, we can repurpose content to that. So it's very exciting.
And if guys want to kind of get more information about Content Club, where's the best place to go?
Website www.mediabros.co.uk is the best place. Follow us on Instagram at the Media Bros, Facebook, all those usual places.
Perfect. One of the things I like to do when we sort of wrap up is just to give some gratitude back, and I just want to thank you guys for your time this evening. As we've gone through, we've got so much actionable stuff that I know the listeners will be kind of busy pulling over their car, getting the notepad out and just writing some notes and sort of picking up that. I encourage everyone to start with that video. I'll hold myself accountable and make sure I do that too and tag in as well. So, I love being held accountable as the way that we do stuff and the way that we progress. So I'll get involved with that as well. But no, thank you so much, guys. I think what you're doing is fantastic. I think with the Suffolk Business podcast, I love it that it's talking to business owners around the area which you live, and sort of giving them sort of room to tell their stories, similar to what we've spoken about this evening, telling the stories behind these businesses, I think is really fascinating. And I know from personal experience, I've taken a lot away from those conversations, whether it be tips, whether it be just, how people have approached certain things. So I think that's a really great platform. And with the Content Club, I can just see that going from strength to strength. And it's such a valuable resource that businesses at all levels, no matter where you are in your kind of journey so far, they'll get so much value. So thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate it.
No, thanks for having us on, Ross. It's been
thank you, Ross. And I just want to say, just to end that as well, like, you are a prime example of somebody that is going out of their way, creating content, giving value out to the world. And, through the medium of this podcast, you are doing just that. So thank you for inviting us on, mate.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah. It's always good to reciprocate in these ways, and I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be quite weird because, as you know, I have kind of binge watched a lot of your YouTube videos. So it's going to be like, when you watch a TV program and then maybe you get in the audience at a TV program or something like that, and you kind of
you're going to be in there now, mate.
Seems a bit weird. Yeah.
We'll have a coffee waiting for you, mate. Don't worry. Perfect. Thanks so much, guys, again. Guys, if you've listened to this podcast, we'd really love to hear your comments. So if you found something that's really resonated with you, don't forget to reach out to the Media Bros and myself. You can tag us on Instagram, Facebook, or wherever you use your social media, and share this episode as well. There's so much information in this episode. I'm sure other business owners like you that could really benefit from some of this stuff. So ensure that you
share it, and remember to subscribe. And wherever you listen to your podcast as well, we'd really appreciate a review. If you found any of the content out of all the episodes of value, I really love your thoughts. So make sure you do that as well. But until next time, I've been Ross Dean. This has been Make Today Count, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.